I'd like to talk to you today about Asperger's in college and in particular graduate school. Now, many Asperger's have lucky life circumstances, such as parents that can help them through their undergraduate college years with tuition and or helping them apply for scholarships and so forth. And for example, in Georgia, they have something called the Hope Scholarship, and anyone with either 3.5 or some high school GPA can get this Hope Scholarship, which pays for the majority of your college costs for your bachelor's degree. It's an awesome scholarship and saves a lot of money. It comes from the Georgia Lottery. Now, typically when an Asperger's goes to this type of university, it will result in a degree. However, when going to graduate school, one of the problems that I've observed has arisen in some Asperger's people is, and I'm going to talk, this will be about a male, okay? This male Asperger's went to graduate school, and it turns out that the male graduate student, when it was in his peak mental capacity of age like mid-20s, and most men do make their most, eureka breakthroughs historically when they're in their young 20s. Look at Einstein. In 1905, he wrote the 3 key papers that made him so famous and got him started in his career of fame and making such a difference to the world. He was in his mid-20s, and so this young man was in his mid-20s, and he was coming up with some really breakthrough ideas about computer programming and how to make a better operating system for the world to use that would really change society. It's a paradigm shift from Windows and Mac operating systems. And this young man would talk to every single professor in the department of this very prestigious university that he got accepted into their PhD program, and try to pitch his research so that professor would support him and allow him to do this research for his PhD thesis. And every single professor, and by the way, this was not an Asperger's friendly university, and I would say I'm a half Asperger, half neurotypical, no surprises there. So I understand both sides, and I've been at both sides. My son is one, and I'm interacting with neurotypicals all day at my job. So my son is not this person, but so he is Asperger's, and that's one of the ways I learned about Asperger's. So this young man in college would try to pitch his ideas for a new operating system for the world to every professor, and every professor in this college would roll their eyes and say, "Wow, no way am I going to support this guy." Because all he wants to do is his ideas, and every professor in this university wanted to work on their own agenda, and they didn't want to work on a graduate student's agenda. And according to this department in this university, this was the norm. This was how, according to the professors there, this was just the norm. You just don't tell a university professor what you want to work on. You do what they say. Now, other universities, such as the University of Delaware Chemical Engineering Department, they love it when the graduate students have their own ideas. I mean, especially if you can get funding from DuPont or something, and they seek these people out. But in this particular university, they did not want that. And so this young man, this grad student, with his brilliant ideas, the peak of his creative part of his life, could not get anyone interested because of this particular university. And even when a nice professor, the least bullyish of any of the professors, pulled this gentleman aside and said, young man, that you really need to listen to the professors and don't even mention your research, and see what they want you to do research on and accept those projects, because that's the only way you can get your PhD here. And if he had listened and done that, he would have gotten his PhD, and then he could have gone on to become a professor and do his own research. But instead, he gave it all up. He got mad at the process, and even before he got through all the professors, he gave up, and he decided that he wasn't going to sit there and try to read the other professors' papers and follow the game. He wanted to do his research. So he just gave up in a huff. And as a result, this young man had no job after he was kicked out of the grad school because he didn't finish the program. Obviously, he didn't get funding. He did not get a professor to fund him. So he had to leave. And so he left with no job, and he ended up moving to some friends in another city and getting some job serving, hamburgers at a hamburger joint. And after about 2 months of that, he started feeling crazy, like he was going crazy because he needed to hang out with intelligent people. There were no intelligent people around, and so he wanted to go back to the university. Then he just found out that he had to wait a whole another year in order to get into the loop of applying to universities. And then after a year goes by, and he does get into a university, he didn't like that university, so he decided not. So then another year goes by, and he finally ended up, after 5 years of just doing nothing and hating his life, he finally got into a university again because he wanted to be around intelligent people. And then he went to the university, and guess what happened? He didn't want to do the research with the professors again. So he didn't get his degree. But when he turned 50, he went back and got his degree, and then he could teach and do his own research. So all he had to do was put aside 2 or 3 years, work for someone else in humble obedience to get this piece of paper that says, now I can work at a university and do my own research and they'll pay me. So it's really hard, I know, for a male under 27 when your brain hasn't developed, but especially for an Asperger's male under 27 when your brain hasn't fully developed, to figure out that you have to sometimes work for what you want in the future. And it's well known that males' brains don't fully develop this ability to plan for the future and to understand the repercussions of their current actions until 27 or 28 years old. So that's too bad that it's such a late time, but sometimes males need a little bit more care and nurturing and guidance until they're 28 rather than setting them free at 18, and especially for the Asperger male. Well, I don't know if this has been helpful to anyone, but it's just, I guess it's a little bit of me wants this to be a warning to please be willing to be obedient, do the stupid, boring research that you don't want to do, because in the long run it'll pay off and it'll be better than sweeping floors at McDonald's, or serving lattes at Starbucks. Sorry, Starbucks, but that gets old after a while, especially if you're very, very intelligent and you want to share your ideas with the world and save the world, as all Aspergers want to do. You're not going to be able to do that if you work if you're separate from the system. You need to be part of the system in order to improve the system. So I wish that I could make that more clear. But each person has to make their own decisions and learn the hard way if they have to. See you later.